What year did you buy it?
1998.
And you bought that with the express purpose of piddling at gold mine, playing at gold mining.
Play around. Another adventure.
Another adventure, there you go. And that's in Montana.
We kind of stuck in a rut there at Wittenberg in the shop. We was in there for about 40, how many years, Gary? 40 what?
Since 72 in Wittenberg. May of 72.
June 98. So you were 59 at that point. 59 when you bought the gold mine.
When?
In June of 98, you were 59 years old.
Probably. Yeah, that would be about right.
And then from there, you were going out there and spending
4 or 5 weeks. I spent 9 weeks. It was the longest I ever spent there. We took our vacation. We took a long vacation and go out there.
Well, did you built a lot of your equipment in the shop and took it out there, didn't you?
That we built.
Built it all in the shop.
Built all of it.
Sure, except for the excavator.
All right. 59 years old in June of 98. And then after 98 into 2000, any big events? When were you roping horses out west in Buffalo across the island across the?
From the time I was 9 years old until I was 16. See, it wasn't, running wild horses wasn't a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a weekend thing.
Okay.
Or if we didn't have work in the wintertime, and if we didn't have work in the wintertime, we chased wild horses in between working for the farmers.
And who all would be involved in chasing horses? Who all would be involved in chasing horses?
Well, my brother Lloyd, my brother Dale, and myself. And sometimes Bob Gabbert.
Who was the oldest one in the bunch?
Lloyd.
How old was he? How much older than you is he?
He was born in 1920. Karen.
So he's 10 years older than you anyway.
I think it is. Walk in there and look at that picture and see when Lloyd was born. I think it was
I can do that.
1920 or 1924, somewhere in there. Guy should remember that, but you know.
1930.
So he was 9 years older than you. So
I was the youngest one.
The youngest boy.
I was the youngest boy in the family. I was the one that the old man would tell the oldest brother to do something. The oldest brother would turn around and tell the next youngest one to do it, and so on. Then when they got to me and told me to do it, I looked around, there wasn't nobody to pass it on to, so I got stuck being a gopher.
my mother told me she's changed her diapers before.
She probably did.
All right, so from the age of 9 to 16, you were out in Goldendale going to school.
Yep.
And that's when you were at the age of 11, you had the job on the ranch, on the
ranch.
Mormon ranch. and you worked at Messer Ranch when you were 14. But during that time period, you and your brothers would go out and chase wild horses.
Yeah.
What'd you do with them?
Some of them we broke to ride and sold to ranchers. And some of them we sold to a guy named Horse Thief Kelly. And some we sold, and the older ones we sold, they went to for dog and cat food.
And your brother, who was 9 years older than you, was the one that was supervising stuff. So
Sometimes,
he was a teenager to
yeah,
20 years old when that was going on.
Yeah, he was pretty much, he was the oldest one, yeah.
Now, I don't know if you want this told or not, but you remember telling me that Granddad Glover went down and bought cattle feed, high-grade cattle feed, and they'd cook it for y'all? Cornmeal and
It
beans?
was the same thing he bought in
Corned
the
beef.
grocery store.
Yeah. It was,
Years ago, they put that stuff up like cornmeal.
yeah.
They fed it to pigs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it would come in bulk into the feed mill.
Yeah.
And they would bag it.
Yeah.
And we bought it and we ate it.
You're right.
We ate it for breakfast, you know, like oatmeal or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And we made Johnny cake out of it.
Yeah. That's what we
Good
call
stuff.
cornbread, I guess. Johnny cake's probably what we call cornbread in the
Yeah,
South.
cornbread, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the episode where you went with the rancher to get the bison and they swam across to the island, that was
Oh,
during
yeah.
that time period, 9 to
Yeah.
9 to 16-year-old time
I
period.
wasn't very old. No, I don't think I was 16 yet. I think my next brother older was about 16. And I was probably about 14. See, that's a funny thing, you know, depending on dates, you know, how they come.
Mhm.
Sometimes my brother was 3 years older than I am at a certain date, and sometimes he was 2
What-
years older.
Did y'all go with the rancher out there to get the? Where'd he get the buffalo?
We went to Roosevelt National Park and got the buffalo.
They were wild.
Yeah, and we trucked them out to Washington.
You just went up and roped them and drug them into a truck.
No, they had these parks have always, it probably hasn't been publicized a lot in the beginning, but for years they have a buffalo sale.
Oh,
And he bought them from it's a federal park, so he must have bought them from the federal government. And when we got there, they had them in a pen. All we had to do is back the truck up to the loading chute.
and the rancher would take a 14-year-old out there to do something like that because what? Why would he want a 14-year-old?
You mean to work with the buffalo now?
Yeah, I mean, you got in a truck with a rancher and y'all drove out to wherever this place
Oh.
was, and
Back in those years, when he was 11 years old, he was a grown-up.
oh,
That's just the way it worked. By the time you got to be 11, you knew what to do.
you're
You know?
supposed to do a lot.
Yeah,
So he took you guys out there and he expected you guys to work like men.
yeah. And we did.
And he did.
They
We
were.
probably could outwork a man
Yeah.
because we were younger.
Yeah. And this rancher, this wasn't Kelsey, or whatever his name was it?
Huh?
But that rancher wasn't, what was his name, the rancher that you... Mesker. It wasn't Mesker, was it?
Yeah, Mesker. What about it?
That was Mesker that got the buffalo?
No.
Yeah.
That was another guy entirely that we
Oh.
worked for.
Okay.
When we had summer vacation or something like that in school, we worked for that guy before some of this other stuff. But Ned Roberts, that's the guy that had the buffalo. And that was,
Ned Roberts?
yeah, we called him Uncle Ned, but he wasn't really our uncle.
Yeah.
He was my brother Chuck's wife's,
Brother
Uncle.
Chuck's wife's uncle.
yeah.
All right. And y'all got 3 buffalo. Where at Roosevelt?
Yeah, Roosevelt National Park.
Where is it? I don't even know where that is. And y'all took them to what island?
To Blaylock Island. There's only a little piece of that island above water right now.
The Blaylock.
Yeah.
And that's in Columbia River.
Yep.
Is it considered Washington?
Yeah, it's considered Washington because it ain't in the middle of the river. It's a quarter mile to the island from the Washington side and a half a mile on the Oregon side. And they separated that state by the center of the Columbia River.
Pretty cool. And can you imagine a 14-year-old getting in a truck and with some man and going off to ride horses and catch buffalo and I can't imagine.
Yeah, we did all that kind of stuff.
No, not today. Not today. Today,
It took
14-year-old
teamwork.
sitting next to mom in the kitchen, and she's washing his ears and giving him a bath and stuff. Have you let Sadie out?
Yeah, did just before we ate.
You know, I don't think my mother ever worried too much or my dad about it because of the way we grew up. You know, it just, we did things like that. And we couldn't ask my dad to use the car, you know, on a Saturday night or something. If we wanted to go to town, we had to go down and saddle up the horses, and we rode 12 miles to town, cross country.
Mm-hmm.
And then we, girls love to ride horses.
No, she looked around here now. You better watch it. She's fixing to get caught. Have you done said enough about that?
So anyway, we'd get kind of rowdy sometimes after a while and hoop and holler and ride up and down the alleys, you know, it was just dirt and, you know, we didn't want to run our horses on the pavements or on blacktop, so we'd run them up and down the alleys and we'd hoop and holler and yell and sometimes somebody like Bob Gabbard, he might shoot a few shots in the air. And then the sheriff's department would get after us, you know, and a town cop would be after us. But we had it set up so when they got after us, we all went in different directions. So then they were so confused they didn't know how to chase it. And we always met at the football field by the high school, and that was just on the edge of the outskirts of town. And from there we had a lot of escape routes, you know, where we could go that they couldn't go. But that's what happened that time when cops was after us. Sheriff was. And we knew where we was all supposed to meet, you know, so we went there and we met. Well, then they had watered the lawn on the school, you know, where it sloped off pretty steep. For about 3 days, you know, it was soft, you know, probably what it was down. And we, just for fun, we run up, and when we run over the top of it, we'd pull our horses up and they'd slide, you know, and we tore that lawn out there, you know. Well, then, next day the sheriff came to school and he said, I want you and you. And anyway, we was out there fixing the lawn. We had to reseed it, we had to fix it and patch it and water the damn thing, and then everybody would drive by and said, hey, you boys having as much fun today as you had last night? You know, people had a sense of humor, you know.
All right, we got some breaking political news.